Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Why Cowboys DC Mike Zimmer will be improvement over Dan Quinn. Mike Zimmer is set to take over the Dallas Cowboys defense in 2024. Zimmer, the Minnesota Vikings head coach from 2014 to 2021 before serving as an analyst and consultant under Deion Sanders at Jackson State and Colorado, replaces Dan Quinn, who left Dallas to accept the Washington Commanders head coaching job in the offseason. The 68-year-old will bring a different scheme to Big D, and team insiders believe it will be an upgrade over Quinn's defense. John Machota and Saad Youssef of The Athletic spoke in a roundtable with the New York Times to share their thoughts on the upcoming season. Youssef pointed to Zimmer's coaching style as a major difference between him and Quinn. Whether you talk to other coaches on the staff or players in the locker room, you get the idea that Zimmer has a way he likes things to be done. He's known for his fierce, hard-nosed style of coaching, and that's different from Quinn as well, but schematically, I expect to see some notable differences, too. Saad Youssef, The Athletic. Those echo statements made by Cowboys star edge rusher Micah Parsons after he showed up at the Star for minicamp. I think it will be pretty cool, because obviously old-school mindset, old-school mentality. I think he's had a lot of great players, but he ain't ever have a Micah before. It will be fun, and I think it's going to be unique, Parsons said at the time. Zimmer's hiring also led to the Cowboys' signing of linebacker Eric Kendricks, who will help bring Zimmer's vision to fruition. The veteran linebacker will wear the green dot for the Cowboys this season and relay the plays to the rest of the defense during games. If the rest of the Cowboys' defenders can buy into Zimmer's scheme, it could prove to be a home run hire for Dallas that helps get the team over the hump. The Dallas Cowboys defense is under new leadership for the 2024 season. Mike Zimmer replaced Dan Quinn as defensive coordinator after Quinn left to fill the Washington Commanders head coaching vacancy. Many Cowboys fans are wondering what to expect with Zimmer leading the charge, and starting safety Malik Hooker is providing some insight. Hooker appeared on the All Fact No Breaks podcast with former Cowboys receiver Keyshawn Johnson, the same podcast he made headlines on by ripping teammate Micah Parsons for having his own podcast. While the Parsons comments made headlines, Hooker also discussed Zimmer's approach and how it could lead to more discipline for the Cowboys on the defensive side of the ball. "Look, scheme-wise, it won't be much of a difference," Hooker said. "We've had some success in this defense last year. Both coaches are going to demand excellence, that's for sure. DQ, Dan Quinn, definitely did that too. I love DQ. I still talk to him all the time, and he's a big reason I'm even here in Dallas." The most significant difference between Zimmer and Quinn, according to Hooker, is Zimmer will let you screw up and learn, while Quinn wanted to make things as easy as possible for all of the players. "Mike Zimmer will give you a couple of chances to mess up and learn," he added. Dan Quinn, on the other hand, is more player-oriented. If something wasn't clicking, he'd adjust things to make it easier for everyone to succeed. Dallas Cowboys teammate blasts Micah Parsons for being dedicated to his podcast instead of focusing on football. Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons is on a short list of the best players in the NFL. When it comes to defense, he's certainly top 3, and he might even be the best, depending on which week you catch him. Parsons has been a superstar from the moment he made his rookie debut with the Cowboys after being selected 12th in the 2021 NFL Draft, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's also made the first-team All-Pro in 2 of 3 seasons and earned second-team honors in the third. Basically, he's as consistent as they come, racking up 13 or more sacks in all 3 seasons as a pro. But when he's not terrifying opponents with his pass rush moves, Parsons spends time promoting his podcast, The Edge with Micah Parsons, in which he's put out 23 episodes in the last 9 months alone. Yet, his teammate, safety Malik Hooker, believes Micah Parsons should drop the podcast act and focus his entire attention on helping the Cowboys reach their goals of winning their first Super Bowl since 1995. Oddly enough, Hooker didn't tell Parsons this privately, he instead chose to go public with his criticism, ironically on another podcast. "My advice for Micah would be just make sure we're all right," Hooker said on Keyshawn Johnson's podcast. "Because if we're at work and the run game's terrible, but you're doing a podcast every week and you know the run game is terrible, then what are you really caring about? Are you caring about the crowd that was watching the podcast, or are you caring about the success of our team and the Super Bowl that we're trying to reach?" Those are some very pointed remarks from Hooker, and to no surprise, Parsons didn't take kindly to them. Here was his response on social media. "Just wish you said this to me, but instead on some podcast. And you got my number, family. At Malik Hooker 24 and you my locker mate. So you coulda said this any day. And you do realize I shoot the podcast on our off day. Why ain't we talking about everyone preparations and focus? This may feel petty, and that's because it is. Our guess is Hooker doesn't stick with the Cowboys for much longer. You don't go at the team's franchise player in public, especially when he has a direct line to speaking to his locker mate. We're guessing Hooker doesn't return to the Cowboys in 2025, despite being under contract through the 2026 season. But maybe we're reading into this one too much. Dallas Cowboys expected to cut recently signed veteran running back this summer. The Dallas Cowboys will head into training camp with one of the league's worst backfields. The lack of talent might not be able to save a recently signed veteran running back stint with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have several interesting battles lined up on offense in training camp later this month. Trey Lance will compete with Cooper Rush for the QB2 job. The Cowboys are deciding their committee for the running back group. The Cowboys wide receivers group looks unsettled after CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert. As previously discussed on GH, The Athletic's John Machota thinks the Cowboys aren't done adding to the backfield. As the roster sits, I think Ezekiel Elliott leads the team in touches, followed closely by Rico Dowdle. The number 3 back is completely up in the air. It could be Royce Freeman, it could be Malik Davis, it could be Deuce Vaughn. The Cowboys are hopeful that this plan will keep a couple of backs relatively healthy late in the season and entering the playoffs. Malik Davis and Royce Freeman will have a chance to be part of this Final Four. It's difficult to see Dallas keeping more than that at a position it hasn't invested very much. This is also a spot where someone not on the current roster ends up on the 53 during the season. Elliott has the tools to make a solid contribution to the Cowboys this season. However, he's not going to be an every down back, and Dowdle and Lupke aren't going to inspire confidence in the fan base. The Cowboys were trying out Vaughn as a slot receiver in practice this spring to see if he could be helpful there. It is honestly a little surprising that Machota thinks Freeman won't make the cut. He didn't post awful numbers for the Los Angeles Rams last season when he finished with 319 yards on 77 carries and 2 touchdowns. At 4.1 yards per rush, Freeman would be a helpful addition to a committee backfield. The Cowboys' backfield doesn't feel complete, and Machota reiterated the Cowboys will likely add outside help. If they aren't getting the job done, a move will need to be made. It's arguably Dallas' weakest position group. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Royce Freeman? Leave your opinion in the comments.